it would be hard to find anybody more committed to the community than the folks that I met with, and just really pleased. And then I had dinner with two of your county commissioners, Bruce Adams and Willie Gray-Eye, and Willie's here. I don't see Bruce, but would you raise your hand, and thank you for being with us tonight. Congratulations on your election. I know firsthand that elections are hard. And to all of you who have run and put your name out there, you just have my great respect. 15 months in Congress, 125 town hall meetings. I wear a little Fitbit, and I can tell you, I don't have the exact number, but I did some estimating since I've been in Congress, 12,200,000 steps. We walk a lot in Congress. My office building is quite a walk over to that. Well, it's not quite a walk. It's probably a 7 or 8 minute walk, but I do that several times a day, and I walk to work. And in an average day in DC, I've been averaging about 30,000 steps. This trip's been hard on me because we're in a car all day long. So I get up and try to get 5 steps every morning. We've passed 5 bills in just our 15 months in Congress. And that is a big deal for a freshman to pass that many bills. I'd love to tell you just briefly about them. They deal with human trafficking, just a terrible problem. I don't know how many of you follow Operation Underground, a Utah-based company that helps with human trafficking issues. They deal with opioids. The Congress this year passed, last year passed 67 opioid bills. And I was really pleased that mine was one of those opioid bills. But you know, in Utah, we lead the nation in a statistic that we don't want to lead on. We have the highest rate of prescriptions to opioids to women in pregnancy than any other state. Not only are we the highest, we double the national average in Utah. So my bill was a simple bill asking for a study to look at prescribing habits, to see what we could do differently to help women in pain with their pregnancies without using opioids. And I was really pleased to be part of that and the larger opioid package. My very first bill I'd love to tell you about, because it's an important bill for this part of the country. I lovingly call it my fish bill. It deals with the San Juan and the Colorado rivers. I learned that to do anything in those two waterways, the Endangered Species Act requires you to do an offsetting mitigation project, whether you're taking water out for agriculture, or building a bridge, or anything that you're doing in those waterways. I also learned that there are 4 endangered species in those 2 rivers. And so the bill simply lined up the need to do a mitigation act with the need of the fish to have help, and facilitated those 2 projects coming together. So without a single taxpayer dollar, we were able to facilitate a project to recover those 4 endangered species. And it's an important bill in this part of the country. So that was my very first bill. It passed through the House of Representatives by a vote of 392 to 6. You want bipartisan work, right? This is bipartisan work. I'll tell you just kind of a funny story. The House likes to vote on bills just because it's quicker by voice. So how many are in favor, and they just if they can do it by voice vote, they'll like to do it. So my bill was coming up, and there's one procedural thing that if you don't want it to be a voice vote, any member can ask for a roll call vote. So I raised my hand and said, no, this is my first bill, I want a roll call vote. And I have a little slip of paper framed in my office that says 392 to 6 that the House clerk wrote out after the vote, and I keep that framed in my office. Another bill that I'd love to share with you, and by the way, we'll do most of tonight will be answering your questions. And so I just want to share a few thoughts with you, and then we're going to jump in and answer your questions. We just passed a bill through the House, through the Senate, and was signed by the President. It was lumped into a larger land package bill. It's called the Emory County Lands Bill. And it takes 1 million acres of land up in Emory County. And I don't have to tell this group how controversial these public lands bills can be, right? You guys get this better than anybody in the country. We actually got all the stakeholders to agree. Environmentalists, ranchers, climbers actually agreed on the use of 1 million acres, where we would graze, where we would protect, where we would recreate. And they came together and found something out, which is they can all actually agree on these very important issues. And I just am really excited to be part of it. It's a big deal for Emory County, it's a big deal for the region, and I think in many ways serves as a possible template for what can happen in other places with these difficult public lands bills. And that just passed last week, and had an opportunity to go to the White House and be part of that signing, and that was kind of a surreal experience. To walk into the Oval Office and be there with a lot of my colleagues. It was bipartisan, also passed a very large partisan vote, and through both the House and the Senate. And so really excited about that. Well, briefly let me tell you about my trip. Started Tuesday morning, I left Provo and went down to Price. Met with all the leaders in Price and did a town hall meeting in Price. The next morning we drove over to Castledale, met with some constituents, and spent some time out in the swell looking at some of the positive impacts of the bill that we were able to pass. And I'm leaving out a lot because these days have just all merged into one. But we got in the car, drove to Moab, had an unplanned visit with the Highway Patrol on the way to Moab. And I was driving, but they were very good to me. For no other reason that I was only going 87 in an 80, which is kind of right there on the bubble, and so he gave me a warning. We went and looked where they were leaving the tailings coming out of Moab. I hadn't seen that before. I'd seen the tailings coming out of Moab. I didn't know where they were putting them. So we actually went and looked at that place. Spent some time in Moab with the leaders, elected leaders, constituents in Moab. Did a town hall meeting there in Moab. I got to tell you, it was probably the most passionate town hall meeting of all my 125 that we had there. And then started this morning, Monticello, Landing, and Bluff, and met with good people all along the way. We were going to get in an airplane today and drive out over much of Bears Ears and the Pioneer Trail and see all of that. But as you well know, it was not a good day for an airplane flight. They canceled that. And for those of you that were up north today, we got pounded with snow up there on my way down here. And then, of course, had our meetings down here today. It has just been a fun trip. I've really enjoyed every minute of it. I think yesterday, from our first meeting at 8 until I crawled in bed about 10, we didn't even have time to stop and think. They just had me going run, and that's exactly what I like. And just really pleased to be here with you tonight. So what I'd like to do is turn really the time over to you and to ask questions. Lori is going to, we're going to pass around the mic.
Yes, sir.
No?
Yeah, but he's going to make an announcement.
Okay, and he's going to make an announcement.
Hey, everybody, thank you for coming. We're excited to have Mr. Curtis here. We're going to pass the mic out. One question is kind of what we want to glean from someone that has a question, 2-minute limit. I'm going to turn your mic up just a bit, John, if you don't mind. And
I'm a little soft-spoken, and I can hold it closer too, but if I ever get to where you're not hearing me, just somebody put their hand up to your ear and I'll talk a little bit louder.
And we have a Navajo translator here tonight, so we have translation services available. Check it out.
Testing. Oh, is that better?
Is that better?
Okay, good. Thank you.
Brad?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And he mentioned kind of a 2-minute rule. Let me just suggest that I've done enough of these to know that some of you just have a lot you want to tell me. And if you can compress that to 2 minutes, it's really in the best interest of everybody. I'm going to try something that I've not done in any of my town hall meetings, but let me do this. Some of you have something you want to tell me more than a question you want to ask me, and that's okay. But usually people feel like they have to turn it into a question. So if you really just want to tell me something, that's fine, right? And so you don't necessarily have to tell me a question, just be super sensitive on that time. Is that good with everybody? Who would like to start? Ooh, we got to break the ice here. Who's going to break the ice? Right here? You ready? Okay, he's going to bring you a microphone.